Hey Pack, Josh here, coming to you with a quick video about one of our Pactivity nights coming up. We are going to work on a STEM program and actually expose our scouts to coding. Yes, you said it. We're going to expose the scouts to coding, and it will be a fun, interactive session with your kids. For the younger kids in kindergarten, a lot of hand holding, but once we're done, a lot of fun playing it. With the older scouts, a little more creativity, a little bit more ingenuity on their part. And again, once we're done, a lot of fun playing it. So watch this video, take some notes on how we're going to do this, and we'll be ready for the Pactivity night coming up. First thing you want to do is go to Google and simply do a search for Microsoft Make Code. Once you find the Google search results, click on Microsoft Make Code, probably one of the first entries into the results. Brings you to here. You do not need to have an account to do this. It can be for free unless you want to save these for future use. For tonight's purposes, for the Pactivity night, we're just doing it on the fly. Front page, we're heading down to the arcade piece and jumping to start coding. Once a new tab opens up, we're going to scroll down and get into the tutorials. And we're going to work on one simple game called Chase the Pizza. And you can actually chase the blank. We'll figure out how to do that in a moment. So pick on Chase the Pizza. It'll bring a drop-down menu opened up. Chase the Pizza. We can either do it in blocks, JavaScript, or Python. For many of us, we have no idea what any of this stuff means, and that's okay. This is exposure to coding, exposure to some STEM. We're going to go to the blocks piece. Start the tutorial for blocks. That'll open up another tab for us. A quick definition of what this is about. For our purposes in this video, we're not going to read it. We're going to go straight into it. So here's our layout. We have, I'll call it grid paper, in the main portion of the screen. We have toolboxes or menus, submenus we can pick from here. On the left, we have our instructions. This particular game has 19 steps. And we have a preview. It looks like a little Game Boy for those of us a little bit older. This is going to preview our game. We're going to largely stick on the instructions piece though. First time through, I had to read word for word what this was about. I did it once in about 30 minutes. I've done it again on a practice run. Got it done in 10 minutes. We'll see how I do here without making us too much of a verbal mess versus the instructions. So really what we need to do is just simply read what's going on here. So open the scene toolbox. I have my scene toolbox open and I want to set the background color. I'm going to double click and drag on my machine and jump it right onto the on start green box and let go of it. That is step number 2. Next one, we want to set the background color. We want to click into this little oval here. That brings up a color palette. And I want to pick, I don't know, for the sake of it, I want to pick pink for the moment. Awesome. To see what this looks like, I can go to my preview, my Game Boy. Click over that, I have a pink screen. I don't like the way it looks. I'm going to change it. Fun part for the kids. Palette, pull it up, change color. It refreshes, and poof, there's the new color. That matches the Game Boy a little bit too much for me. Kind of blends in. I don't like that. Fun for the kids. Change it again. We're going to go black. Let it refresh. And boom, I've got a black background. I'm going to stick with that for the moment. Back to my instructions. We set the background. We did the game simulator. Step number 3 is done. On to the next. Open up Sprites toolbox. What's a sprite? That's an entity. That's how I describe it. It's an entity. We're going to have in this game 2 sprites, a player and an object. The object being the pizza. So anyway, open up the toolbox for the sprites, drag on the first one, double click and drag, set it on the start block. Right underneath, they nest into each other. This will create the player character for our game. We're good there. Step 4 is done. Step 5, draw your player character by clicking on the gray square. Here's where we're going to deviate for our game and to save some time. Yes, your older scouts may want to draw their own person. It's very much like Minecraft. It's very blocky. I am not an artist. I'm going to cheat and go to the gallery. And I'm going to pick, I don't know, there's a lot to choose from, but having done this now a few times, I like the shark. We're going to pick the shark. Lower right hand corner, hit the word done. Boop, done. That is my character. Okay? Go on to the next. We're going to open up a controller. Toolbox. Move my sprite with buttons. Yes. We're going to pop that right inside of here. And now I got my sprite moving with buttons. I can go over my preview and I can use the buttons on this or use it on my keyboard. Either way works. All right, my character moves. Good to go. On to the next. We're going to now open the sprites toolbox again, and we're going to get set my sprite to. And this is going to be the pizza place. We're going to slap that onto the on start box, and there we are. Next, in the sprite to block, click my sprite to, and we're going to rename the variable. Rename, and we're going to call this one pizza. Now this is me in the coding world, setting up my variables to have names so I understand what I'm talking about. So it's no longer my sprite 2, my sprite 3. If I were to add a third element, I simply know what that is. So I'm going to actually go in here, go to the next step, set the pizza by clicking in the gray block, gallery, picking this pizza, looks delicious, hitting done. I need to change it though. It's no longer my player. It is now my food. It's my other entity. So now we have it on food. So I have my shark as my player. The pizza is my food. Go on next. On the gray box, set pizza. Select gallery. We scrolled through. We've already done that. Open the sprites toolbar. Again for a third time. And this one we're going to pick the long box. And we're going to place this wherever we want on our sheet of paper, the grid paper. So boom, there it goes. Now see, I get annoyed. I want my sprite to change to a name, and I'm going to just call it shark. And I got my shark popped in there. We have step 11, pull out the long box. On the sprite overlaps other sprite block, click on the second player. So there's player 1. Here's player 2, and we're going to make this the food. So now this block is telling us that when my player sprite overlaps on the food sprite, I got to do something with it. I can't let it just sit there, because right now if I preview it, I have the pizza on top of the shark. All right, I got to make an action happen. I got to make something, some sort of reaction take place. So when our player overlaps with the pizza sprite, we need to add a point to our game score. So this is going to be the gamification of it. So under info, we're changing the score by 1, double click drag, and we're adding it to the overlap function. Not so much on what's going on here on start, but the overlap. What happens when they overlap? We want to add a point. We're good on that. Now we need to set the position of the pizza to random locations on the screen, so whenever it overlaps, it changes and moves. And that makes us chase the pizza, right? So on the sprites toolbox, again, we're now going to set my sprite position. Nested into the overlap piece. Okay. Now we get an error. It comes up saying, hey, there's something wrong with this. Well, I don't have anything called my sprite anymore. So I need to set that to be the pizza, right? And it's going to set that pizza to a certain position of, in right now, the matrix of 0, 0, dead center on the screen. So my next step is then to make it my pizza. So I did that. And we want to now open up math and pick a random. Double click drag. It has a red dot there next to the word pick. I want to line that red dot up to one of my coordinates. Oh, another red dot shows up. I'm linked. That's where I'm dropping it. Boom, dropped. I'm going to go back to the math, pick it up again, come over to the next one. Boom, red dot on red dot. drop it, we're good to go. Next set of instructions tell me how big the screen is, and we want to be able to have the pizza fly around all over the screen. So we're going to change this one over to 160, change this one over to 120, and now we've made the entire screen available for the pizza to float and change whenever my shark player overlaps with the food entity. All right, so now we're going to make the game a little bit challenging. Every time we touch or overlap the two, we want a timer to go off. And so we need to overlap the next one by a certain amount of time. So we're going to go to Info, Start Countdown, double-click drag, pop it right on what we're working on here. And right now it's default 10 seconds. Let's go to step 19. We're done. 10 seconds though, after trying this out, is kind of a long time. So I'm going to change it to 3 seconds. That seems to be pretty good. That's it. We have made a game. What kind of game, you say? Let's go preview. It's running in the background, so I lost automatically. I restart, and I got the clock going. I can get down on a shark, and I find it easier to do on a keyboard versus the mouse. That's a long one, and I'm racking up points. I'm at 9 points. And what happens if I don't get there in time? Well, game's over. Aw, man, nuts. There we go. We made our game. The next piece to it all is to publish the game. Your kids can play on the screen. They can play it all day long. We're going to hit done. And we can play here on the larger version of it. Again, using the keyboard. All right. So there we are. All right. Let the clock run out. It's going to ding, dong, boo, boomer. If I go to Publish Project, it's going to bring me up a QR code. If you want to do a mobile game with your kids right now, scan the QR code. That'll take you to the mobile web app, play the game. We're all set to go. We'll do a fun challenge during our Pactivity Night. That's it, gang. Introduction to coding. We'll talk more about it during the Pactivity Night, what this all does, and we'll go from there. You guys have a great night. Thanks for watching.